Hey guys, welcome to the Movie Goers podcast. My name is Jordan. You can find me on all socials at Jordy B Writing.
And I'm Darius. That's D's All Up in the Area on all socials.
And today we're going to be reviewing Conclave. This movie came out last year, 2024. Um, the cast is Ray Fiennes, Stanley Tucci, John Lithgow, Isabella Rossellini, and a bunch of foreign names that I cannot pronounce.
Bunch of people you
It's
wouldn't
like,
know anyway. You'd have to
yeah,
Google them. So
it's like 50 people from all over the world. So the plot for Conclave, the Pope is dead, RIP slash relevance, and Cardinal Lawrence reluctantly oversees the secretive conclave to elect a successor. As political maneuvering and long-held secrets surface among the cardinals, a surprise candidate, Benitez, gains unexpected traction with a message of peace after a terrorist attack. He's elected, but a final revelation about Benitez's identity leaves Lawrence pondering the church's future. So I'll toss it to you to introduce Act One.
Act One, we're going to call The Vacancy and the Gathering Storm. Following the unexpected death of the Pope, Cardinal Lawrence, burdened by his own crisis of faith, is tasked with the solemn duty of overseeing the papal conclave. If I'm sorry if I mispronounced that. As cardinals from around the globe converge on the Vatican, long-standing rivalries and hidden agendas begin to surface among the potential successors, hinting at a contentious election ahead. I would like to let the audience know that this was our very first PG-rated movie.
Oh shit,
Uh,
it's PG.
yeah, it was PG-rated.
This
This is
is
the first thing
PG?
I
That's so
noticed
weird.
when the movie started and it was like PG, and I was like, this has got to be our first. And I double checked, this is our very first PG-rated
Yeah, it
movie.
definitely is.
So that is my first observation off the bat. What you got?
So my first observation is we need to put some more respect on Ray Fiennes' name, the main character.
Okay.
I think he's a fantastic actor. His filmography is like surprisingly, not surprisingly, but an elite character actor. For those of you who may or may not know, he played Voldemort in Harry Potter. He was the bad guy in, I believe, The Pianist, some other stuff too. He's in the James Bond series too, the Daniel Craig movies. Um, I thought his performance in this movie was very um, complex and nuanced. He had to speak three different languages. You know, he's got to play sort of a crash out slash like level-headed guy. He has some of the most uncomfortable conversations you've ever seen a
Yeah,
human have.
for sure.
He stood on big business. So I just wanted to shout out his performance in this movie. What
Fair enough.
observations you got or questions you got for Act One?
So I should mine is more philosophical. Should the process of electing a pope be in secret?
That's a good question. I didn't even think about that. No, I don't think it should be in secret.
Okay. Do you
Pope is a
think
Pope is a public figure. He's in charge. He has a lot of power. He's in charge of a lot of important issues. I think people should know how they got into position, where they stand on certain issues, who supported them. I think that stuff is important.
fair enough? I think so. I'm of two minds because I do think full transparency is kind of overrated in when it comes to how
Right.
things are governed. I think I'm not opposed to like a cabal of elites, for lack of a better word, like
Hmm.
making decisions together without, you know, the whole world seeing it.
Right.
But I'm not a religious person, so I was wholly unfamiliar with this process. And even to the
Hmm.
extent that I am religious at all, I'm not a Catholic. My parents are
Right.
Southern Baptists, so um, it was a bit pretentious for me, considering this is probably the most important religious figure on earth.
Right.
Beyond like the only figures more important than him are like literally the gods. Like
Yeah.
Jesus, Mohammed. Peter and Paul and all the people that are
Yeah.
in the books. So
Right.
I do I think people should like it should be a public vote? No, I mean there's a gajillion Catholics in the world, but I think a little transparency
Right.
wouldn't hurt. And I
Yeah.
think it would, help people in their faith to see how the sausage is made a little bit. So
Correct.
my answer is a little hedged.
Hmm.
Like, to put it in an American political context, like obviously general elections should be transparent and free and all that stuff. But I think
Yeah.
the primaries were better when it was like we picked when the circle of elites picked a candidate in a smoke filled room, and then
Hmm.
now the primaries are open, you get a bit more
Right.
crazies because I don't most people aren't. smart enough to make good decisions in their voting.
That's a
So if you
yes, we
give
learned
them,
that last year.
you let the elites pick a person to go primary, and then in the
Hmm.
primary, in the
And
next
let the people
primary,
pick.
let the people pick between the two people that
Gotcha.
are
Okay,
presented before them, because in a closed primary, smoke-filled room, Donald Trump never makes it out of in 2016 because like
that's a fact.
they had to pick Marco Rubio or Ted Cruz or and I voted for either of them? No, but I don't believe they're going to
Hell no.
overthrow the government like I think Trump might. So,
And yes,
like
correct.
I can live like I'm not like I can live with the Mitt Romney as president. That's fine. Like
Yeah,
in four
yeah,
years
yeah,
I'll vote against him and hopefully he loses.
yeah.
That's a totally different thing than what we have right now.
Than
So,
what we're about to go through as a country.
like George
This
W.
shit
Bush
feels
was not a great president, but like I never feared that the republic would collapse. Like,
right.
like it's
Like
fine.
this shit right now, it feels like the beginning of Deathly Hallows Part One, where
Yeah,
Voldemort got the Elder Wand and and the Death Eaters are flying around the world. The Dementors are flying around everything and shit. Like people get going missing and shit.
it's
It's
rough.
really bad out here.
What else you got for Act
Um,
One?
um, yeah. So that's a good take. I think also particularly um in the religion of Catholicism, I think given the reputation of everything that's gone on with, the cardinals and secrecy and certain cover-ups of behaviors, we don't need to go into detail about that. I think certain shit should be made more public in that particular aspect of religion. Um,
You know, I
but I do want to
I can't. I'll word this. You finish. You finish. But yeah,
okay.
Catholicism doesn't have a great reputation.
Correct.
We should watch that movie. What's the movie about the Boston Globe's
Spotlight.
reporter? Yeah, that was.
Spotlight. I thought
Yeah,
about we can do that. Yeah, I love that movie.
yeah. I think we just picked our next one live.
Yeah, shit. Yeah, fuck it. We ball.
All right, fair enough.
Spotlight next week.
Tune
Uh,
in.
Coming to a pod near you.
Yeah.
I want to say I really loved the score on this movie. Like that, whatever that sound was, where it would just kind of like build whenever like crazy shit was about to happen. I thought that was pretty dope. One thing I
It
didn't
did the
realize
best
was
it
I
could.
was
It made what was basically a movie a lot of walking and talking. It built suspense, walking and
yes,
talking, and then a lot of subtitles. The audience should know
correct.
this is not a light watch. Like you
This
can't.
is not
This
a
is
phone
no.
scrolling movie.
It's not an easy watch. It's a good movie. It's not a bad movie, but it's not an easy
Yeah,
watch. And so it
correct.
made the score does its best to keep you engaged. So
Yes.
I agree there.
To me, I think this movie reminds me a lot of I love like old movies and stuff. It reminds me a lot of shit, what was I about to say? Damn. 12 Angry Men. Like it's like a drama slash thriller where it's kind of got it's a lot of talking, but it's a dialogue that kind of keeps you on edge. What was I about to say? Oh,
Did
so
you
I
ever
didn't I
watch
didn't
Juror
realize
number
this.
one? I doubt you have. Um,
Yeah, I don't know if I've
it's
seen
like a
that one.
modern take on 12 Angry Men. You should check it out.
Okay. Okay, I'll check that out. What I didn't know, which I thought was really cool, was remember the scene where the Pope dies and they take the plate off the ring and they put it in the rod or whatever and they seal his room off.
Yeah.
So they do that with the ring because they take uh, it's like a they use that ring to do the wax mold of
Yeah.
seals on shit like documents and stuff like that. So they basically do that so no one can forge anything because it's like it's similar to like when a politician dies and if people don't know yet, you can kind of pass shit through on the slick. So that's kind of why they do that to make sure that no shady shit happens after the Pope has passed. Um, One thing I thought was really funny was when they all kind of everybody descends onto the Vatican. You have all the cardinals come in and shit, and you see the three priests smoking in the
Yeah.
smoking cigarettes in in the vestibule like teenagers, and then you got the dude scrolling on his iPhone and stuff. I think that was kind of cool to
Do
show
you know
like
like,
how times have changed.
like all of them have to take a vow of celibacy?
Cardinals.
All of them. Priest, cardinal,
Oh
bishop,
yeah,
the whole
yeah, yeah,
nine.
yeah.
I
Yeah, I
guess
did.
because Jesus
Okay,
was
yeah,
celibate, so they all have to take a vow of celibacy.
yeah. That's unfortunate.
Not gonna be able to do it.
Yeah, couldn't be
Not
me.
gonna be able to do
It couldn't be
it.
me. I'd have been like that one cardinal. He was like, "Yo, man, listen, I was 30. What you want me to do?"
I mean, damn, I can't even have a wife. I can see if you said I can't have sex out of marriage, but like at all,
Yeah,
I can't
yeah.
even get a
Like
wife.
I can't marry a nun and just do that. I
I
don't
forgot
I
the
don't
note.
get it.
Yeah, says that in the name.
Um,
What else you got for Act
yeah.
One, man?
I love that even these are supposed to be like the most, chosen and holy men on earth, and they still hate their coworkers.
Yeah, I mean, so my father is a deacon in a church, and my mother is on the mission board of the church, and so
Hmm.
like it's just like any
Either
other
way,
workplace, just like any other
yep.
school, like any other like it's just the same pettiness, the same
Hmm.
politics, the same
Yep.
positioning for this position and that. And third. Anytime you get people together and you get hierarchy, you're going to have the same issues that come with hierarchy. So,
Yep. Um, and I will say I like that they showed the. It's not good, but I like that they showcased kind of some of the separatism, some of the bigotry that kind of goes on, particularly in other countries relating to other nations. I thought that was kind of important to show, especially considering when they talked about when Lawrence talked to Bellini and he was like the Pope was having a crisis of faith in the church,
yeah,
and you kind of just the plot goes on to reveal why he does and why he was right to have those doubts. But I thought it was cool that they touched on that, and didn't try to like sugarcoat shit.
fair enough. We're going to pop into Act Two here, which we'll call Secrets and Maneuvering Within the Walls. Behind the locked doors of the Sistine Chapel, the Cardinals engage in intense debates and secret negotiations. Lawrence finds himself caught in a web of political intrigue as he uncovers damaging secrets about leading candidates, including a past scandal involving Cardinal Adeyemi and evidence of bribery linked to Cardinal Tremblay, threatening the integrity of the sacred process. I would just like to say that they didn't do the cliche thing and make the black cardinals the liberal ones and the white ones conservative
Hmm.
ones. There's
Yeah,
a strong strain of black conservatism in religious circles, and I'm glad that they illustrated that.
correct.
So, that's actually been a recurring theme in our pods is that, black people be
Yeah,
conservative, be like,
as hell.
like, they vote for Democrats,
You
but
tough,
they
right?
be conservative, man. Just being honest with you,
Yeah,
like the
that's a fact.
like it's not like insane, like right wing conservatism. They're just like my dad is to my right. I will probably
Right.
be the right to my son. Like it's just, so it is
Hmm.
what it is. What you got for Act Two, man?
Um. Oh, so actually, it's funny. So we rest in peace to the actual Pope that passed a couple weeks ago, Pope Francis. So they're actually in the process of doing that conclave now,
Yeah.
and there was a clip of the priests kind of going into Rome for the conclave, and it was very similar to the scene in the movie where they're all kind of walking through in the process, and they're in the big conference room, or it might have been
The
supposed to be the
Vatican, we'll
Sistine
just call
Chapel.
it
I
the
think so,
Vatican.
Vatican or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just
Talk
want to say
about a
that
stroke of
Catholic
luck for the
drip.
makers of this movie, though. RIP and all, but
Yeah,
like you can't beat
yeah,
better. Like, can't beat
for
better
real.
marketing than this. It's literally the most.
Facts.
It's as topical as you can get. The Pope doesn't
As
just
you can
die.
possibly get. Like
Uh,
it's literally been number one on like Amazon for the last
yeah.
couple of weeks. Like,
Yeah, I mean,
um,
he ain't gonna say it out loud, but he happy than a motherfucker. Like somebody is counting some greenbacks behind this. So greenbacks is in money, not the slur. Greenbacks is in the money is green. That is a
yeah,
saying. So
yeah. I was. Oh, yeah, I want to say, yeah. The Catholic drip is crazy though. Like the
yeah,
white with the rose,
yeah.
the crosses, the rings and shit. They respect the
And
fuck out.
them we call them gowns in the black church. I don't know what you call them, but like
Yep.
they be pressed, man. Ain't a wrinkle in them
Yeah.
motherfuckers. Like
They
who
will
is
never
they
wrinkle.
dry cleaner?
Seriously, who what starch do they use?
Nah, man. Like
Even the little they're not
they got that shit
yarmulkes.
on.
Yeah, they had that
Call
shit
them
on. And
yarmulkes.
even they're not yarmulkes. Whatever the little caps were they were wearing, those are fresh too. I never seen
I
them in
have no
red.
idea what they're called. I suppose we could Google it, but I don't want to look off camera. So
Right. So I thought that was dope. Also, the set pieces and the architecture throughout you see in the movie was absolutely beautiful. They actually did shoot it on location in Italy, which is why it, looks the way it does.
is the Vatican
Um,
conclave time aside, is that like something you can view? Can the public just go to the Vatican? Is it like a museum or something?
I'm
You know how you can
not
like
really
go to
sure.
the
So,
White House, but you can't like go to where the president's at, but like people tour the White
right.
House.
I'm not. So the director of the movie actually got like a private viewing of the Vatican
I'm saying though,
before he
if we
even.
bought a flight to the Vatican
Yeah.
tomorrow, I don't, is it in Italy?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
All right. So we
I
bought
don't
a flight
know.
to Rome tomorrow. Could we just buy a ticket to go see the Vatican?
I'm really not sure. I'm actually Googling this
Okay,
shit right now because I'm
fair
really
enough.
not sure. The Vatican. Let's see. Can people visit the Vatican? Oh yeah, tourists can visit it.
There you go.
They have attractions like the museum, St. Peter's Basilica, don't know what that is, and the Sistine Chapel.
I've
Oh
heard of
yeah.
it. I
Oh, so it
couldn't tell you
says
what it is though.
while some areas are private, most major attractions are open to the public. Cool.
So it's like the White House, basically. Like
Yeah,
you
pretty
can buy
much.
into
Yeah.
the
It's
White
like
House, but you're not gonna get to meet the president, you know.
you're not gonna go in the Oval Office. Yeah.
No, no, no.
Um, yeah, I think they shot one of the Twilight movies at the Vatican. One of those crazy vampire scenes.
You look at that.
But yeah, yeah, so I thought that was like awesome. They were able to shoot on location. Um,
Right before the
what
real
was I
dude
gonna say?
died.
Yeah, facts. I wonder if they got to meet him.
I mean, this is probably filmed 2 years ago, so probably,
Yeah,
you
true.
know.
You're right. Yeah, probably. Yeah. What was I gonna say? So this scene where Lawrence sees Benitez and they're in the little pond with the turtles kind of going everywhere, whatever, and he tells him like I'm actually gonna leave the church after this, or was trying to leave. I don't want to be Pope at all. I thought that was kind of interesting. And even like you kind of see him throughout the movie just being so begrudgingly a steward of the faith, even though he kind of was having a crisis of faith. Um, and I just wanted to ask you, I guess, did you think it was more so he didn't like what his responsibility was, or do you think he genuinely just was no longer committed to the cause?
It's tough to say as an atheist because I it's easy I always want to default to no one actually believes this stuff. It just makes them feel good.
Hmm.
But you don't take a vow of celibacy and do all of this and become a cardinal
Right.
um into so I think it's the former. I think he just didn't like the responsibility at the time. But I mean,
Hmm.
you wouldn't be human if you didn't question your faith every now and again. Like a lot of bad things
Correct.
happen. Um
Yeah.
and so I've met some really devout Christians who, sometimes you think like, what's going on. So
Yeah.
to answer your question, I think it was more the former than the latter because you don't make it to where he makes it faking your
Hmm.
belief and your religiosity. So
I feel you. Um, so I also wanted to ask
the
you,
Canes just scored 1-1.
yeah, about to say, yeah, my neighbors are like screaming right now.
Yeah, the Canes
They're
just
having
tied up
a
a playoff game.
yeah, they're having a watch party, I think across the street. So
I'm having one in the
um
background. So
what was I gonna, oh yeah, so they have the like kind of the four main candidates for the papacy. You got the mean Italian guy, you got the tall dude who's kind of a snake, you got um Stanley Tucci's character, and then you got the black guy. So I wanted to ask you, which one would you have chosen if you were one of the cardinals?
I part of my question to you is would the world be better with a more conservative pope or a more liberal pope? And I don't know any of them niggas' names because the
There's a lot
Knicks
of
was in
characters.
overtime at about this point in the movie. But I would have gone with the more conservative candidate, whomever that was. I forget his name. But
The Italian dude.
yes, I would have gone with the
Okay.
more, even as a left of center person,
Hmm.
I don't like a liberal pope just doesn't make much sense to me. Like that doesn't like the Bible is pretty clear about certain things. Whether you agree with the Bible or not, that's your decision to make.
Hmm.
But the idea that you would be like a liberal preacher or a liberal pope, I just think that's trying to have your cake and eat it too. Um, so I would have gone with the conservative pope, even if I would have disagreed with him on a whole host of social issues. To me, if you're going to be a
Hmm.
religious leader, you need to stay true to the text. And the text of the Bible is pretty clear on a whole bunch of controversial political topics. And so
Hmm.
if you're going to be a religious leader, you need to be faithful to the text of the religious that you claim to lead. So I would go with the conservative option, the Italian, if you will.
Yeah.
So,
Okay. Interesting.
like you see all these like
Um.
modern progressive preachers, and it's just like that's not. It's like, you call it something else. Start your own religion, but like the Bible's pretty explicit about these certain things, which is I don't believe I don't go to church, so I can it's fine. I almost I
Yeah.
agree with you, progressive preacher person. You're just not a
Hmm.
Christian leader. It doesn't make sense. Anyways, sorry.
Um. What was I gonna say? Um. Okay, so we get to the scandal part where it's discovered that the black cardinal knocked up or possibly knocked up or had some sort of relationship with a sister or nun when he was on a mission in Nigeria millions of years ago. Um, and he's kind of pretty much out of the running basically. Um, did you feel bad for him when he found out that he couldn't couldn't make it.
No, because you took. I mean, the vow of celibacy is pretty clear.
Yeah.
And while I think it's a bit much, the rules they didn't hide it from you. They didn't lie to you. You know what the rules are,
Yeah.
and so no one told you you could have went and been an electrician and had all the sex you wanted in the world. Like you, you chose to be a Catholic priest, so this is what you chose. Like I don't know what to tell you, man. Like, and you ended up. I mean, and what is your punishment? You can't be the Pope, but you don't lose
Yeah.
anything else. Like
Yeah,
you're
he didn't
still a
lose his job
high-ranking
or anything.
cardinal,
Yeah.
and you
He didn't
still
lose his
get to keep
job.
your reputation. So no, you just can't be the Pope. I'm sorry. Like
Yeah,
I don't feel bad about that. No.
I feel you. What was I gonna say? Oh yeah, so uh also I think one thing that was really interesting was the dynamic that the sisters played in the church, where they're supposed to be in that religion, I guess, seen and not heard, but they clearly played a very pivotal role. Um And I think that, I mean, let's be honest here, if that sister hadn't have been like, oh yeah, he was the dude who paid her to come here to sabotage, oh boy, I think that dude probably would have ended up being the Pope, or
Yeah,
he would have
probably
had a good
would.
shot at it at least.
I agree.
Um, Also, interesting little tidbit of information. So the actress that plays the sister in the movie, Isabella Rossellini, her mom is was Ingrid Bergman. I don't know if you know, she's a legendary Hollywood actress. She's like kind of one of the first big movie stars. She was the romantic lead in the movie Casablanca with Humphrey Bogart. Um, before
Nigga,
a lot of people's time.
Casablanca.
Yeah, well,
Was that even? Did that even have? That was with that had. Did that have sound?
yeah, it had sound and color. Yeah, dude. We'll always have
No,
Casablanca. You
like it
never
came out in the
what?
40s, didn't it?
Yeah, or 30s maybe. Um,
Sure.
but yeah, so I just thought that was kind of cool, a little movie nerd tidbit
The
for y'all.
only person I recognized was the famous Crip Stanley Tucci. Like I really, I that's the only actor I recognize in this movie. I'm not gonna lie, man.
That's funny.
This one had to flex the. I've been working on my attention span. I've been off the
Yeah.
socials. This one was I put it to use. I put it to really, really good use.
That's funny. That's funny.
I enjoyed the movie. It's just
Yeah.
it's a movie. It's one of those dialogue heavy,
Yeah.
one or two sets, just
Yeah.
walking and
This is
talking.
a this is a film lovers movie.
Correct, correct. It's like Beyond the Beyond series with Ethan Hawke and the girl before
Um
sunset, before sunrise, before midnight.
oh yeah
It just
yeah 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 yeah.
it's just two people walking and talking.
Mhm.
And so like I love those movies. It's just that, when
Yeah.
you take it to walking and talking and then it's like a religious process that I'm not familiar with. Like I had no idea how any of this went. It was tough for me to follow it at times. Did you
Same.
have anything else
Okay.
for Act Two?
Um no, that was all I had for Act Two.
All right, we're going to move into Act Three, the unexpected choice and a lingering revelation. Amidst the turmoil in a disruptive terrorist attack in Rome, a seemingly humble outsider, Cardinal Benitez, gains unexpected support with his message of unity. He is elected Pope Innocent, bringing a moment of hope. However, a post-election revelation about Benitez's intersex identity leaves Lawrence to grapple with the profound implications for the church's future and its understanding of identity. Did you know that the Pope gets like a fancy name after he's elected Pope? Because I
Yeah, I
didn't.
thought that was their real names. I did not
Yeah,
realize they
I'd
chose
say
get to choose their own names.
that's they get an honorific,
I
I think
had
is
no
what they call
idea.
it.
Yeah.
I did not know that.
So yeah, I didn't know that either. I literally went and I was like, well, shit, let me go look them up. So I literally Googled. I was like, oh, none of these guys use their real names at all. Also, I didn't
That,
realize there have been um almost 300 popes. There've been like 230 popes or some shit like that.
do they all claim to talk to God?
I don't know.
You know what the
I
saying
don't
is?
think.
What's the difference between a religion and a cult?
Yeah.
A religion is when I'm sorry. Difference between a religion and a cult. A cult is when one person claims that they speak to God. A religion is if that person's already dead. It's like that's the only difference. It's like, anyways. What you got for Act Three?
What was I saying? Oh, so I think that one thing that kind of I found frustrating in this movie was not with the movie itself, just with the characters in the movie, where they're all kind of being like, "No, I know you want to be Pope." It's like, "No, I know you want to be the Pope." It's like, first of all, y'all all want to be
You
the
want to be
Pope.
the Pope, right?
You all want to be the Pope,
Yeah,
and I think the thing that frustrated me a lot too was between Stanley Tucci and uh,
famous
the
crow.
main character Ray Fiennes. Yeah, there is the fact that they both at different points were not willing to do what was necessary to protect the church, so to speak. Like if you feel like they both felt like the Italian guy was going to be a bad pope, right? But they neither was first was willing to like I don't want to say get their hands dirty, but you know what I mean. And
Yeah,
it's like
I mean, it was
yo,
get their hands
if
dirty.
you
It's politics.
yeah, and it's
This is
like
just a political thriller. This is like
it's a political thriller, yeah,
it's like counting votes in Congress, but at the highest levels of the world's most popular religion.
correct.
Cleveland's up 7.
And it's okay, cool. And it's just like yeah, if you really care that much, then you need to be willing to do what you got to do, bro. Like sorry,
I
like
concur.
y'all got to put some smut on that man's name. Tell people what the fuck he did. That's why I'm so glad when he printed out those reports and copied them and gave them to everybody because they would have been fucked. I think they would have been fucked if that dude was came the Pope. Like you, first of all, he was shady from the beginning. When dude questioned him and he was like, "Yo, how'd your last meeting go with the Pope?" And he was like, "Oh, it was lovely." He's like, "You sure?" And he's like, "Well, that dude's a drunk, so I wouldn't listen to anything he says." And then you pay the mistress to come into town and all that. So yeah, I think one thing that pissed me off was the fact that for a minute they weren't willing to get their hands dirty. Luckily, one of them was.
But how'd you handle the big reveal? No pun
Um,
intended. Um,
I,
I just
I
didn't see it
first
coming.
I did not see that shit coming. I was like, what kind of operation? I thought they were gonna say he was like at an abortion clinic or some shit like that. And then they were like, no, he had a hysterectomy. And I was like, what? Because I was like, I know what a hysterectomy is, and I was like, wait a second, that can't be because then he would have to. Oh, like that was my reaction.
What percentages of babies are born intersex? What
Interesting. That's a good
percent
question.
of babies
Um,
are born intersex?
yeah, I was blown away. I was like, I did not see that coming.
1.7%
Um,
population is
oh
born with
wow,
intersex. That's
shit.
higher than I thought. Granted,
Yeah,
it's an umbrella term and there's different variations within.
true.
But that's more than I thought. I mean, that's
Yeah,
1.7 babies per 100 born in the
true.
world, but well,
That's crazy. Yeah, I think. I mean, it definitely was shocking, but I like that his reasoning behind what when he had the conversation with Voldemort, where
one bit of clarification.
yeah,
Um, Clinically significant variations that are noticeable at birth, as in like the baby comes out and you can see an atypical genitalia, is
got you.
0.02%. So much
Okay,
less than 1.7%. We're getting
right.
into boring numbers, but 0.02 is a fraction of 1%.
Yeah.
So it's much
Okay.
less in the sense that I'm
Yeah.
assuming our audience, when they hear intersex, are thinking clinically significant atypical genitalia at birth. So,
Right.
uh, sorry, go ahead.
And in this situation, it wasn't that he had I believe he had male genitalia, and then he had to get an appendix done, an appended what's
He
the
was
word
unaware,
appended?
which
Yeah, he
happens.
was unaware. Yeah, he was unaware, and they found out, and he was going to leave the church, but the Pope actually was like, no, don't. There's no reason for you to not,
Yeah. You
be
didn't
doing
ask
what
for
you're
this.
doing.
You're born this way. You're not getting the surgery correct. He didn't want to get the surgery because it was not in God's image.
Correct.
And so, no, I mean, it makes sense. And he's lived his whole life as
Yeah,
a man.
exactly.
He's
And they say God don't
celibate.
make mistakes.
Correct.
True, that too is like it's celibate anyway. So what difference does it make what he
What
has?
difference does it make? Other than the Pope has to be a man, I believe. So,
Oh yeah, that's true.
um, but I
Um,
mean, I don't know, like who's going to be testing his estrogen levels? No one. So, that's
right.
why my question to you at the end would be, would you have revealed Cardinal Benitez was intersex? And no, I mean, I wouldn't
No,
have.
I
What would
wouldn't
you
have.
have?
I
You
wouldn't
wouldn't have.
have.
So,
Nah, and also first of all, like I think the reason the Pope kept him was because to be no pun intended, the stones you have to be a Spanish speaking Catholic in Afghanistan,
yeah,
like that's a different level of courage you have to have.
they hang Christians
Um,
over there.
yeah, for real.
Well,
Yeah, like
now that
you're putting
well,
your life on the line.
now that the Taliban actually runs Afghanistan, before when the United States were basically propping up the government, you would get hanged for
Yeah.
being a Christian. But now I'm certain you will. They don't even let women like wear their hair outside anymore in
Yeah, or show
Afghanistan.
their
So
face pretty much. So shit.
yeah,
Yeah.
there are some places in
Yeah,
rural Afghanistan where like women are married off like very soon after puberty and go into a house and just like don't come out forever. Like they don't come out until
yeah,
they like it's for years and years and years. Like
it's really bad.
the conservatism over there makes us look like
Like,
pink-haired liberals.
yeah, it makes us
So
look like Sodom and Gomorrah.
pretty much.
Um,
What else you got for Act 3, man?
and also I think he was a perfect choice because once he made that when he made that speech in the meeting room where he was like, "All y'all are full of shit," yeah, he called them all to the carpet, y'all being petty as hell. And the conservative pope, he was like, "We're going to war. These are animals, whatever." He's like, "Nigga, what war have you fought? What war you been in? I've been
Yeah.
in
Who
Afghanistan.
is we?
Right? Who is we? Is the war in the room with us?"
Right.
So I like that he called them all to the carpet for being full of shit and not representing what they're supposed to be, which is supposed to be the best of us. Um, it also reminded me of that one of my favorite quotes again from American Gangster. Loudest one in the room is the weakest in the room, and that's obviously how a lot of the other Cardinals viewed the Italian guy anyway. So I thought that was kind of the nail in the coffin for his candidacy as well. Um, and again, another reason why I say like he should have been able to still be the Pope, which he ended up being able to, was people want to pick apart which sins and which parts of the Bible they want to subscribe to, and it's like, but okay, well, I'm sure there's something in there about you being me being you're beautifully and wonderfully made, right? That's in there,
Yeah.
um, and they say God don't make mistakes, so
I mean, their rebuttal would be, I'm
you
not
should
the
be the
Pope.
Pope.
But
Well, fair.
like, like I get all things considered, if he disclosed his gender status and they rejected him, I would
Mhm.
not have a problem with that because their religion is clear. But if you're telling me after
Yeah,
they've elected a pope, should he be outed and start the process over again? I'm going to say no, I would not do that.
correct. Yeah,
Because it's not with great power comes greater expectations,
responsibility.
greater
Yeah.
responsibilities, greater scrutiny, and
Hmm.
no religious leader, you can't say I live in sin too, therefore I can't judge you because I'm not the pope. Like I'm not the guy in the pulpit. Like I didn't ask for this, you did. So no, I
Yeah.
mean, I don't think he did anything wrong, but like he
Right.
still got the job. But I
Yeah.
don't. I also would not object to any of his followers finding out and objecting to him. So
That's fair.
like you can't pick and choose which parts of the Bible you want to follow when you're the pope. So
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point.
what'd you rate it, man? Do you
Um,
have anything else for Act 3?
um, yeah. So I was when I watched the scene in with the where they go to the lake and there's the turtles, and they
Yeah.
said the Pope was giving them turtles by someone in Argentina or something like that. And then when he elected the new Pope and he was walking around and he found another found a turtle and brought it back to the lake, I thought like, what's the significance of that, or what is the significance of turtles? I guess I should say. So I looked up kind of what they symbolize or what if there's any sort of symbolism behind that I was missing. So they actually are symbols of like peace, tranquility. They say that the shell is like a metaphor between heaven and earth, where one side is smooth and one side is like rocky or whatever the case may be. So I thought that
Are
was
you a
kind of
religious
cool. And also
person?
just,
I don't think you've disclosed to the crowd. Are you a religious person?
oh, yeah, yeah, I am. I just
Okay.
don't really, I'm not a big church person. I feel like church is in many ways antithetical to religion.
Like, do you like organized religion? Are you Christian, Muslim, Jewish person, Buddhist?
Christian.
What are we? Okay, fair enough. Uh,
Yeah.
fair enough. Do
Oh,
you
go ahead.
like go on Easter?
I mean, I've gone on Easter. Yeah, I haven't gone in a couple years.
I just wonder. I
Um,
just wonder. I didn't
oh yeah,
know.
no, no, no.
So
Yeah, I just for me, it's just like kind of like the shit you see in the movie where it's just y'all supposed to be leaders and y'all doing all this bullshit, and it's like we can do bullshit because we're not leading people
yeah,
or not trying to lead people. You know what I'm
yeah.
saying? Not that that's okay. I mean, I try to be a good person, obviously. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, it's just I mean, I've been to a lot of different churches and seen a lot of fucked up shit in churches. That just was like, I my belief is that if you want to find some evil, that's actually kind of the best place to go for it, low key. Granted, it's
Fair enough.
everywhere, but like I remember I was a kid, I was in like fifth grade, I was like 10 or 11, and we had a pastor, and like old black people hate young black people.
Yes.
So he was a pastor on the younger side, and he like it was Baptist church, so like it was based on like you could vote him out. They could have an election to vote him out. And it was like a Thursday night. I'll never forget. It was the craziest thing ever. And it was like a war in there. Like it was just like that the movie, like where they're screaming, people screaming and shouting, and they like voted this dude out because there were rumors that maybe he was gay or whatever. I don't know if it was true or not. And all this like wild shit. And it was just like this is not what this is supposed to be. Like this is not what if y'all say y'all serve God, y'all not doing it today.
Well, I mean, the
Uh,
reason most religions, I mean, all organized religions have some sort of laws against same-sex relations, marriage, or whatever, is
right,
because most religions want you to reproduce because that's how they spread. You
right,
want to keep the religion alive by spreading the belief, and you
yeah,
spread the belief by, bearing a new generation of children to born into the belief. And gay couples can't have
hmm
children, so for
right.
a whole bunch of logical reasons, it makes total logical sense why religions
I
would
mean,
do.
logically, yeah. I
Um,
think morally it doesn't make sense. I also, and again, there was not nothing had been confirmed. It wasn't like it was like I think they just didn't like him
yeah.
because he was young and he was changing things. And then they were like, you know what? Let's just throw that on his jacket and get him the fuck out of here. That's like what it felt like to me, even as a kid. Um, and plus, like you said, like your dad's in church, and it's always like I could go to church. Like I always enjoy going to church, like the actual spiritual experience, and feeling connected there and feeling the spirit and all that stuff. For me, it's more so I don't see myself ever joining another church because that's where all the bullshit happens, where it's
Yeah.
the politics and the hierarchy and the da 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 and the organizations and all that. That's more where that's where I object.
Fair enough. Fucking eyes. Do you believe in an afterlife?
Um, I really don't know. I mean, I think to some degree there is an afterlife. I don't know what exactly it looks like or what exactly it is. Um, but I mean, the difference between a body with a spirit in it and a body without one in it. So I believe that spirit goes somewhere. I don't
Okay.
know what happens with it, obviously, but um, I think there's an afterlife for the most part. I don't know if it looks like what we think it looks like in the movies, where it's an oven and a fucking mansion on the other
I
side.
mean,
You
in
know
the
what I mean?
movies, Jesus has blonde hair and he's from the Middle East. So
Right.
it's like, have you people seen a map? Anyways, what do you
Facts.
rate it, man? Let's
I'm
get
like,
up out of here.
yeah, he definitely would have looked more like Saddam Hussein than Brad Pitt.
Exactly. Like, have you seen where Saudi Arabia and Jerusalem and where that is on the
Right.
map?
He
Anyways, where do
he
you rate
would
it,
have looked
man?
like Jafar from Aladdin. I would give it. I actually really like this movie, to be honest with you. It's a watcher's watch. It's a film watcher's watch. I would give it. I give it 4 stars.
I
I
give it
thought the
three.
dialogue was fantastic. The
I give
writing
it
was
three.
excellent.
It's one of those. It's like Oppenheimer. I watched it once and I enjoyed my time with it, but I won't probably watch much ever again. It's just
That's fair. That's
it's a
fair.
once through good movie watchers movie, but I don't
Yeah.
see a reason for me to revisit it. So I'll give it a three.
Yeah, there's not extensive rewatch value,
All right, let's get these
but
closing
it is a good
drops.
podcast movie.
It is. All right. Thanks for listening. My name is Darius. That's D's all up in your area on all socials.
And I'm Jordan. Jordan be writing on all socials.
Please rate, like, subscribe. We're at Movie Goers Pod on all socials. Movie Goers PD on Twitter. That is PD on Twitter.
And for any ongoing movie recommendations, you can reach out to us via email at moviegoerspod@gmail.com. That's moviegoerspod@gmail.com. Thanks for coming to the movies with us. We'll be back next week reviewing Spotlight. That's a wrap on the moviegoers.